Hello, welcome back. Today, in continuation with our previous discussion, we're going to talk a little more about, the differences between the U.S. and Korea in terms of studying as an international student. The theme today is really the relationships.
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And Bill's gonna share his observations about how these relationships are slightly, or maybe significantly,
Yeah.
different from what we usually run into in the U.S. and maybe some new things he discovered while he was in South Korea.
No discussion about relationships in Korea would be complete without at least a discussion on the Sunbae Hubei relationships. And it's so, I'll get a lot of Korean people would ask me how to say Sunbae or Hubei. They would say, he's my Hubei. How do you say Hubei in English? It's like, well, you would say underclassmen or for Hubei or upperclassmen for Sunbae.
Or like, you can say senior, junior, those types of...
But it doesn't capture the same,
adjectives.
like...
Yeah. But you know what it
relationship,
is. Because you
yeah.
were in South Korea and experienced it.
Right. So like the relationship here is like the Sunbae would be usually an upperclassman, and they would be someone who's kind of like a guide, or kind of in charge.
I mean, it's strictly based on who started something first.
Yeah.
Right. So, like a program or a major. Let's say. I mean, it's exactly like what you just said, upperclassmen type of thing. So you're a senior, you're a junior, another person is a junior, you're Sunbae, right? And then the junior person is going to be Hubei.
So, but these relationships dictate a lot of not only who gets assigned tasks, like at work or at the labs, research labs, but also who pays for dinner. Right, so whenever we would go out,
it's good.
It's a good thing when you're the Hubei, but then if they might ask you to do things like, all day they'll be telling you to do. The Sunbae would tell the Hubei to do something that the Sunbae didn't really want to do, like the kind of the unwanted work.
Yeah. So now what happens? I think we do have a similar culture thing in the U.S. because, something like fraternity, you do definitely have a hierarchy.
Yeah.
There is more like senior type of person.
Yeah.
Right? And the person tells you to do things, including drinking alcohol.
Yeah, that's the same in both
which is wrong.
cases. Yeah.
You shouldn't be asking somebody to drink.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are some parallels, I think, in between the two cultures.
At least in my experience, this relationship was more. It was in groups of people who were not even in a fraternity, like our lab, for example. It's just a normal working environment. The upperclassmen would ask them to do things, minor things, but then we would go out for dinner, perhaps on a Friday, and at Icha, or the second round, the oldest person would just buy. You would just pay for everything.
It's financially very burdensome.
Yes, but then your turn presumably would come up. Then when you're the Sunbae, you would reciprocate for the Hubeis.
Yeah.
But I never was the Sunbae, so I received, but I never had to.
So you owe a lot.
I do at some point. If they come to visit here, I guess then I will assume the rule. Something, some small things about even the way I noticed we spend time together was a bit different. So instead, at least here in the US for me, we spend a fair amount of time at each other's houses. We would go to a friend's house and hang out there. I mean, of course we do go out sometimes, but it was very, very rare that I would have people over. Korean people that would come to my house. Foreigners, it was not really much of an issue, other Americans or otherwise. But for getting to some of the guys from the lab or other work, Korean friends, they typically wanted to go out to meet at a coffee shop or to go to the noraebang or hang out at a PC bang or something.
Noraebang is karaoke.
Yeah.
PC bang is where you have computers to play games.
Yeah. And it was strange to me because like some of the things that we would do there, I mean, you can't sing at the apartment obviously, but there were things that people would want to go out even if we were already meeting at a house to do the same things that we might even be able to do at the house. It was just like the culture was definitely go out and do things instead of meeting at somebody's house. And so that's a bit different. It was a bit different.
Oh, so you're saying they rarely gather at somebody's house?
Yeah, at least in my experience.
I
That was
see.
very, very uncommon. You know, obviously here we go out, we might go to Mama's to eat amongst your maybe your colleagues, your work colleagues group from time to time. But I noticed within some of the groups, it would be at least almost one meal a day. They would go out to eat together, maybe at like a kimbap place or even someplace cheap. But on top of that, there would be times where they would eat
Oh, they're always
both meals.
always going out.
Yeah, very, very, like all the time. And then they would go out for lunch around, noon or 1, maybe 11, some people. And then around 6 o'clock or 5 or 6 when I'm leaving, they'll be going to go out for dinner together with the expectation that they eat together and then go back to work.
Oh yeah, that is true.
And
it's like you're together 24 hours a day, pretty much.
Sort of. And
That's what's expected too.
It's a lot, yeah. And, I mean, that's something that it may exist here.
Yeah,
but
I think it continues in a sense that like even after you get your job,
yeah,
like the typical corporate culture. I mean, I know it's changing, and I know it's difficult to like generalize these things. They emphasize being together, and they emphasize building these kind of relationships by doing things together.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of the culture.
Yeah.
In South Korea.
I can't say on one hand, that I don't want to say, no, you speak to me in Korean, I'm here in Korea, and then turn around and not follow the same expectations. I know that there were a bit that I could get away with excuses saying, I don't want to go out to the things, but, I was, at least in what I wanted was to be in,
Oh yeah.
to do my best to be a part of it.
It is important.
Yeah.
And I think they think highly of you by observing that you're attempting to, be, I guess, how would I put it, attempting to be one of them and attempting to learn the culture. I think they think very highly of that kind of efforts.
I hope so.
I mean, maybe that's why you have so many friends.
Do I?
Korean friends. I don't know how many Korean friends you have.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, you see? Yeah. So I think that was a very good comprehensive list of the types of relationships you could run into in South Korea, and I'm sure there are many more. Right?
Yeah, there are. At least these are the ones, the major ones
These are the things you can think of right now.
Yeah.
And we may revisit this if we have an opportunity. But thanks for watching, and we'll continue our conversation next time.